He's got Tweedle around the back of the collar.
If you think we're waxworks, then you ought to pay, you know. Waxworks aren't made to be looked at for nothing. No how.
Contrariwise, if you think we're alive, then you ought to speak.
I'm sure I'm very sorry.
I know what you're thinking about, but it isn't so. No how.
Contrariwise, if it is so, then it might be. And if it were so, well, then it would be. But as it isn't, it ain't. That's logic.
I was wondering what would be the best way out of this wood. It's coming on very dark. Would you tell me, please? They look so exactly like a couple of schoolboys. First boy?
No how.
Next boy?
Contrariwise,
Would you tell
do
me?
you like poetry?
Yes, pretty well. Some poetry.
What shall we repeat to her?
Walrus and Carpenter, that's longest.
If it's very long, would you tell me, please, which road I have to take?
The sun was shining on the sea.
Shining with all his might.
He did his very best to make.
The billows smooth and bright.
And this was I.
Because it was
the middle of the night.
The Walrus and the Carpenter were walking close at hand. They wept like anything to see such quantities of sand.
If this were only cleared away,
They said
it would be grand. Oh, oysters, come and walk with us, the Walrus did beseech. A pleasant walk, a pleasant talk along the briny beach.
We cannot do with more than 4 to give a hand to each.
The eldest oysters looked at him, but never a word they said. The eldest oysters winked their eye and shook their heavy heads, meaning to say they did not choose to leave the oyster bed.
But 4 young oysters hurried up, all eager for a treat. Their coats were brushed, their faces washed, their shoes were clean and neat. And this was odd because, you know, they hadn't any feet. And 4 more oysters followed them, and yet another 4. And thick and fast they came at last, and more, all hopping through the frothing waves and scrambling to the shore.
The Walrus and the Carpenter walked on a mile or so, and then they rested on a rock conveniently low, and all those little oysters stood and waited in a row.
The time has come,
The Walrus said,
to talk of many things. Of shoes and ships and sealing wax, of cabbages and kings.
And why the sea is boiling hot, and whether pigs have wings.
A loaf of bread
the Walrus said.
is what we chiefly need.
Pepper and vinegar besides are very good indeed. Now if you're ready, oysters dear, we can begin to feed.
But not on us!
The oysters cried, turning a little blue.
After such kindness, that would be a dismal thing to do.
The night is fine.
The Walrus said.
Do you admire the view?
It seems a shame, the Walrus said, to play them such a trick after we've brought them out so far and made them trot so quick.
The Carpenter said nothing but,
The butter's spread too thick.
I weep for you, the Walrus said. I deeply sympathize.
With sobs and tears, he sorted out those of the largest size, holding his pocket handkerchief before his streaming eyes.
Oh,
Oysters, said the Carpenter, you've had a pleasant run. Shall we be trotting home again?
But answer came there none.
But answer came there none.
And this was scarcely odd, because they'd eaten every one.
I like the Walrus best, because you see, he was a little sorry for the poor oysters.
He ate more than the Carpenter, though. You see, he held his handkerchief in front so that the Carpenter couldn't count how many he took.
That was mean. Then I like the Carpenter best, if he didn't eat so many.
He ate as many as he could get, though.
Well, they were both very unpleasant characters. At any rate, I'd better be finding my way out of this wood. Do you think it's going to rain?
No, not under here at least. No how.
But it may rain outside.
Oh, it may rain if it chooses. We have no objection. Contrariwise.
Selfish thing. Am I addressing the White Queen?
Well, if you call that addressing, it isn't my notion of the thing at all.
If your Majesty will only tell me the right way to begin, I'll do it as well as I can.
Well, I don't want it done at all. I've been addressing myself for the last 2 hours.
Every single thing's crooked.
Oh.
She's all over pins. May I put your shawl straight for you?
Oh, I don't know what's the matter with it. It's out of temper, I think. I pinned it here, and I pinned it there, but there's just no pleasing it.
It can't go straight, you know, if you pin it all on one side.
Oh.
And dear me, what a state your hair is in.
Oh, I know. The brush is all entangled in it, and I lost my comb yesterday.
Come, you look rather better now. But really, you should have a lady's maid.
I know I'll take you with pleasure. 2 pence a week and jam every other day.
I don't want you to hire me, and I don't care for jam.
Oh, but it's very good jam.
Well, I don't want any today at any rate.
Well, you couldn't have any today if you did want it. The rule is jam tomorrow and jam yesterday, but you can't ever get jam today.
It must come sometimes to jam today.
No, it can't. It's jam every other day. Today isn't any other day,
I don't understand you. It's dreadfully confusing.
Well, that's the effect of living backwards. It makes one a little giddy at first.
Living backwards? I've never heard of such a thing.
Well, there's one great advantage to it. One's memory works both ways.
I'm sure mine only works one way. I don't remember things before they happen.
Oh, it's a poor sort of memory that only works backwards.
Well, what sort of things do you remember best?
Let me see. Things that happened the week after next. Take the king's messenger, for instance. He's in prison now, being punished, and the trial doesn't begin until next Wednesday. And the crime, that comes last of all.
Now, suppose he never commits the crime.
Well, that would be all the better, wouldn't it?
Well, it would be all the better, but it wouldn't be all the better his being punished.
Oh, you're wrong there at any rate. Weren't you ever punished?
Only for fault.
And you were all the better for it. I know.
Yes, but then I had done the things I was punished for. That makes all the difference.
But if you hadn't done them, that would have been better still. Better, 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 better.
Somewhere.
Oh, my finger's bleeding. Oh.
What's the matter? Have you pricked your finger?
Oh, I haven't pricked it yet, but I soon shall. Oh.
When do you expect to do it?
When I go to fasten my shawl, the brooch will come undone directly. Oh. There. You see? That accounts for the bleeding. Now you see the way things happen here.
But why don't you scream now?
Well, I've done all the screaming already. What would be the good of having it all over again?
Well, I'm glad it's getting lighter. I thought it was the night coming on.
Oh, I wish I could be glad, but I just can't seem to remember the rule. You must be very happy, living in this wood and being glad whenever you wish.
Only it's so very lonely here.
Oh, don't go on like that. Consider what a great girl you are. Consider how far you've come today. Consider what o'clock it is. Consider anything, but please don't cry.
Can you keep from crying by considering things?
That's the way it's done. No one can do 2 things at once. Let's consider your age, for instance. How old are you?
I'm 7.5 exactly.
You don't need to say exactly. I can believe it without that. Then I'll give you something to believe. I am just 101, 5 months, and a day.
Oh, I can't believe that.
Oh, can't you? Please try. Take a deep breath. Close your eyes. Try hard. Try hard.
Oh, there's no use.
Oh.
One can't believe impossible things.
I dare say you haven't had much practice at it. When I was your age, I did it for about half an hour every day. In fact, sometimes I believed as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast. Oh, there goes the shawl again. There, I've got it. Now, you shall see me straighten it all by myself.
Then I hope your finger is better now.
Oh, it's much better. Better, 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 better,
like and on both sides, but you can't look all around you, unless you have eyes in the back of your head.
Things flow so about here.
Are you a child or a teetotum? You'll make me giddy soon if you don't stop turning about like that.
How can she knit with so many? She looks more like a porcupine every minute.
Now, what do you want to buy?
To buy. I should like to buy an egg, please. How do you sell them?
5 pence farthing for 1, 2 pence for 2.
Then 2 are cheaper than 1.
Only you must eat them both if you buy 2.
Then I'll take 1, please. They mightn't be at all nice, you know.
You'll have to get it yourself. I never put things in people's hands. I would never do.
I wonder why I would never do. Why, this is the very strangest shop I ever saw. Why, it's Humpty Dumpty himself. And how exactly like an egg he is.
It's very provoking to be called an egg. Very.
I said you looked like an egg, sir. And some eggs are very pretty, you know.
Some people have no more sense than a baby.
Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty Dumpty in his place again. That last line is much too long for poetry.
Don't stand there chattering to yourself like that, but tell me your name and your business.
My name is Alice.
It's a stupid name enough. What does it mean?
Must the name mean something?
Of course it must. My name means the shape I am, and a good, handsome shape it is, too. Why, with a name like yours, you could be any shape. Almost.
Why do you sit out here all alone?
Why? Because there's nobody with me. Did you think I didn't know the answer to that? Ask another.
Well, don't you think you'd be safer on the ground? That wall is so very narrow.
What tremendously easy riddles you ask. Of course I don't think so. Why, if I did fall, which there's no chance of, but if I did fall, the king has promised me, you may turn pale if you like. You didn't think I was going to say that, did you? The king has promised me with his very own mouth to
send all his horses and all his men.
Now I declare that's too bad. You've been listening at doors and behind trees and down chimneys, or you couldn't have known it.
I haven't indeed. It's in a book. What a beautiful belt you've got on. Or a cravat, I should have said. No, a belt, I mean. Oh, I wish I hadn't chosen that subject. If only I knew which was neck and which was waist.
It is a most provoking thing when a person doesn't know the difference between a belt and a cravat.
I know, it's very ignorant of me.
It is a cravat, dear child, and a beautiful one, as you say. It was a gift from the White King and Queen. There now.
Is it really?
They gave it me. They gave it to me for an unbirthday present.
I beg your pardon.
I'm not offended.
I mean, what is an unbirthday present?
It's a present that you get when it isn't your birthday, of course.
I like birthday presents best.
You don't know what you're talking about. How many days are in a year?
365.
And how many birthdays have you?
1.
And if you take 1 from 365, what remains?
364, of course.
I'd rather see it done on paper. This seems to be done right.
You're holding it upside down.
Oh, to be sure I was. I thought it looked a little strange. Now, as I said, this seems to be done right, though I haven't had the chance to look it over thoroughly just now. But this shows that there are 364 days that you might get unbirthday presents, and 1 day that you might get a birthday present. There now. That's glory for you.
I don't know what you mean by glory.
Of course you don't, till I tell you. What I meant to say was, there's a nice knockdown argument for you.
But glory doesn't mean a nice knockdown argument.
When I use a word, it means what I want it to mean, neither more nor less.
The question is whether you can make a word mean so many different things.
The question is, which is to be master, that's all. Impenetrability, that's what I say.
You seem very clever at explaining words, sir. Would you kindly tell me the meaning of a poem called Jabberwocky?
As to poetry, you know, I can recite poetry as well as other folks, if it comes to that.
Oh, it needn't come to that.
The poem I'm going to recite for you was done entirely for your amusement.
Thank you.
I sent a message to the fish. I told them this is what I wish. The little fish's answer was, we cannot do it, sir, because...
I don't understand.
It gets easier further along. Then someone came to me and said, the little fishes are in bed. I grabbed the corkscrew from the shelf and went to wake them up myself. And when I found the door was locked, I pushed and pulled and kicked and knocked. And when I found the door was shut, I tried to turn the handle, but...
Is that all?
That's all. Goodbye.
Well, of all the unsatisfactory people I've ever met, of all the unsatisfactory people I've ever met.
Ahoy! Ahoy! Chaff!
May I help you off with your helmet?
Oh, now one can breathe more easily. I see you are admiring my little box. It's my own invention to keep clothes and sandwiches in. You see, I carry it upside down so that the rain can't get in.
But the things can get out. Did you know that the lid's open?
I didn't know it. Then all the things must have fallen out. And the box is no good without them. Can you guess why I did that? In hopes some bees may make a nest in it. But then I should get the honey.
But you've got a beehive or something like one fastened to the saddle.
Yes! It's a very good beehive. One of the best kind, but not a single bee has come near it yet. And the other thing is a mousetrap. I suppose the mice keep the bees out, or the bees keep the mice out. I don't know which.
I was wondering what the mousetrap was for. It isn't very likely there would be any mice on a horse's back.
Not very likely, perhaps. But if they do come, I don't choose to have them running all about. You see, it's as well to be provided for everything. That's the reason the horse has all those anklets around its feet.
But what are they for?
To guard against the bites of sharks. It's an invention of my own. And now, I must be on my way. I hope you've got your hair well fastened on.
Well, only in the usual way.
That's hardly enough. You see, the wind is so very strong here. It's as strong as soup.
Have you invented a plan for keeping the hair from being blown off?
Not yet, but I've got a plan for keeping it from falling off.
I should like to hear it very much.
First, you take an upright stick. Then you make your hair creep up like a fruit tree. Now, the reason hair falls off is because it hangs down. Things never fall upward, you know. It's a plan of my own invention. You may try it if you like.
I'm afraid you've not had much practice in riding.
What makes you say that?
Because people don't fall off quite so often when they've had much practice.
I've had plenty of practice. Plenty of practice. The great art of riding is to keep your balance.
It's too ridiculous. You ought to have a wooden horse with wheels, that you ought.
Does that kind go smoothly?
Yes.
I'll get one. One or two. Several.
How can you keep talking so quietly with your head down?
What does it matter where my body happens to be? My mind goes on working all the same. And now I must be going. But you'll stay and see me off. I shan't be long. You'll wait and wave your handkerchief when I get to that turn of the road. I think it'll encourage me, you see?
Of course I'll wait. I hope it encouraged him. And now for the 8th square and to be a queen. What is this on my head? And how can it have got there without my knowing it? Well, this is grand. I didn't know I should be a queen so soon. And if I really am a queen, I shall be able to manage it quite well in time. Would you tell me, please?
Speak when you're spoken to.
But if everybody obeyed that rule, and if you only spoke when you were spoken to, you see, nobody would ever...
Ridiculous. Why don't you see, child? What did you mean by if you really are a queen? What right have you to call yourself so? You can't be a queen till you pass the proper examination. And the sooner we begin it, the better.
I only said if.
She says she only said if.
Oh, but she said so much more than that. Oh, ever so much more than that.
So you did, you know. Always speak the truth. Think before you speak and write it down afterwards.
I'm sure I didn't mean anything.
That's just what I complain of. You should have meant. What's the use of a child without any meaning? Why, even a joke has meaning, and a child's more important than a joke, I hope. You couldn't deny that, even if you tried with both hands.
I don't deny things with my hands.
Nobody said you did. I said you couldn't if you tried.
Oh, but she's in the state of mind that she wants to deny something, only she just doesn't know what to deny.
A nasty, vicious temper. I invite you to Alice's dinner party this afternoon.
Oh, and I invite you.
I didn't know I was to have a party at all. But if there is to be one, I think I ought to invite the guests.
We gave you the opportunity of doing so, but I dare say you've not had many lessons in manners yet.
Manners are not taught in lessons. Lessons teach you to do sums and things of that sort.
Oh, can you do addition? What's 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1 and 1?
I don't know, I lost count.
She can't do addition. Can you do subtraction?
Yes.
Take a bone from a dog. What remains?
Well, the bone wouldn't remain, of course, if I took it. And the dog wouldn't remain. It would come to bite me. And I'm sure I shouldn't remain.
So, you think nothing would remain?
I think that's the answer.
Wrong, as usual. The dog's temper would remain.
I don't see how.
Well, look here. The dog would lose its temper, wouldn't it?
Perhaps it would.
Then if the dog went away, its temper would remain.
They might go different ways. What dreadful nonsense we are talking.
She can't do sums a bit.
Can you do some?
I can do addition if you give me time. Oh, but I can't do subtraction under any circumstances.
Of course you know your ABC.
To be sure I do.
So do I. And we'll often say them over together, dear. In fact, I'll tell you a secret. I can read words of one letter. But don't you be discouraged. It'll come to you in time.
Can you answer useful questions? How is bread made?
I know that. First you take some flour.
And where do you pick the flour? In the garden or in the hedges?
Well, it isn't picked at all. You see, it's ground.
Oh, how many acres of ground? Oh, you mustn't leave out so many things.
Fan her head. She'll be feverish after all this thinking. There, she's all right again now. Do you know languages? What's French for fiddle-dee-dee?
Fiddle-dee-dee's not English.
Whoever said it was.
Well, if you tell me what language fiddle-dee-dee is, I'll tell you the French for it.
Queens never make bargains!
I wish queens never asked questions.
Oh, please don't let us quarrel. What's the cause of lightning?
The cause of lightning is thunder. Oh, no, I mean,
No, it's too late to correct it. Once you've said a thing, that fixes it, and you must take the consequences.
That reminds me, we had such a terrible thunderstorm last Tuesday. One of the last sets of Tuesdays, of course.
In our country, we only have one day at a time.
Ooh.
That's a poor, thin way of doing things. Now here, you see, we mostly have days and nights, 2 or 3 at a time. And sometimes in the winter, we have as many as 5 nights together. For warmth, you know.
Then 5 nights are warmer than one?
5 times as warm, of course.
And Humpty Dumpty saw it too, and he came to the door with a corkscrew in his hand.
What did he want?
Well, he came to the house that morning because he was looking for a hippopotamus. But there wasn't anything in there that day.
Is there generally?
Only on Thursdays.
Oh, I know what he wanted. He wanted to punish the fish.
And it was such an awful thunderstorm, I can't even think.
She never could, you know.
And it came rushing into the house in great lumps and blew off the roof. And it was knocking over the tables and knocking over the chairs until I was so frightened I could hardly remember my own name.
I would never try to remember my name in the middle of a thunderstorm. What would be the use of it?
Your Majesty must excuse her. She means well, but she can't help saying foolish things as a general rule. She never was really well brought up, but it's amazing how good-tempered she is. Pat her on the head and see how pleased she'll be. Why, a little kindness, putting her hair in papers would do wonders with her.
Oh, I am just so sleepy.
Oh, she's tired, poor thing. Smooth her hair, lend her your nightcap, and sing her a soothing lullaby.
I haven't got a nightcap with me, and I don't know any soothing lullabies.
I must do it myself, then. To me.
Oh, what am I to do? Do wake up, you heavy thing. I don't think it ever happened before that anyone had to take care of two queens asleep at once. No, not in all the history of England. They couldn't, you know, because there was never more than one queen at a time.
Oh, my ears and whiskers! We shall be too late!
Late for what?
The banquet!
What banquet?
Your banquet, of course! Quick now!
You've missed the fish and soup. Bring on the mutton. You look a little shy. Let me introduce you to that leg of mutton. Alice, mutton. Mutton, Alice.
May I give you a slice?
Certainly not. It isn't etiquette to cut anyone you've been introduced to.
What impertinence! How would you like if I took a slice out of you, you creature?
Make a remark. It's ridiculous to leave all the conversation to the mutton. Remove the mutton. And bring on the purple pudding.
I'd rather not be introduced to the pudding, please, or we shall get no dinner at all.
Alice, pudding. Pudding, Alice. Remove the pudding. Queen Alice's health.
Queen Alice's health!
You ought to return thanks in a neat speech.
We must support you, you know.
Along with the red queen, the white queen, and From 3 to 68 will present a special intergenerational version of Alice in Wonderland at Tallmadge High School this weekend.
We've been working, for the play, we've been working on it for about 2.5 months. As part of the intergenerational program, we've been working on it since last summer.
The play is the result of a special state grant that provides opportunities for older adults and students to interact on a social basis. Included in the play is a grandmother and her 2 granddaughters and a Tallmadge alumna who returns to the stage after a 50-year absence.
50 years is a long time. Why come back to do a show?
It's like yesterday to me, and I'm with kids I love. I love the intergeneration. I'm happy with the students.
The play features a cast of 80, and people of all ages have volunteered their time to make this unique play a success. The work has already paid off. Opening night Friday, the performance is already sold.